happy to have again some time to speak about the beauty of Mahaprabhu, which is ultimately the beauty of Radha combined with the beauty of Krishna. That's not a small thing. The beauty, the external beauty of Radha combined with the external beauty of Krishna, as well as the internal beauty of Radha combined with the internal beauty of Krishna. That's not a small thing. That's the most magnificent thing that can exist, most marvelous, most wonderful. So we will continue today what we didn't finish last time. Uddhava's meeting with Radharani from Gopal Champu of Jiva Goswami. Very intense moment of extreme love, and let's see if we can finish it today. Probably. First, let us offer our humble obeisances into the lotus feet of all these wonderful souls that brought us that amazing, great fortune to be able to be here and listen to that sweet nectar, because there are so many people all over the world suffering from nations, suffering from ignoring who is their most beloved friend and lover. And we are just here, touched by the grace, living a life of bliss, realizing every day more and more that wonderful person, these wonderful persons. I can tell you there is nothing greater in life, no matter what they can do or they can be. No matter which kind of king they can be, even of the entire Earth or any of the planet in the universe, no matter how many billionaires or trillionaires they may be, no matter how much skilled they can be in any field, they don't equal a simple devotee who understands the treasure of Mahaprabhu. There is no comparison. Devotees of Mahaprabhu, if you accept the mercy of Mahaprabhu and are able to appreciate the beauty of these things that Prabhupada gave us and that we are discussing today, you're more fortunate than any king, billionaire, trillionaire, or expert in this material world, even if they live millions of years. So, Amagyanatimirandasya Yanam Janam Shalakya Chakshurun Militam Yana Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Mano Bhistam Stapitam Yana Bhutali Swayam Rupa Namayam Dadati Swapadantikam Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivas Hari Gaur Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Namaste Saraswati Devi, Gauravani Pracharine, Nirvishesha Shunyavadi, Pashyata Deshatarine. So we are still discussing this little verse from Chaitanya Charitamrita. Little verse, but gigantic. Shira Digara Chesta Yena Udavadarshani. Hemata Dasha Prabhur Oya Ratridi. which Prabhupada translates so beautifully like this. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's state of mind day and night was practically identical to Radhani's state of mind when Uddhava came to Vrindavan to see the gopis. So one verse in Chaitanya Charitamrita, and we're just unpacking everything that's in this verse by going deeper into where our Acharya they speak about this reality, that state of mind of Radha when Uddhava came to Raj. It's a very special moment in Srimad Bhagavatam, 47th chapter of Srimad Bhagavatam. Very, very important for us because Uddhava is coming from outside of Vrindavan. He is a pure devotee. He lives only for Krishna, has given everything to Krishna. But he comes to Vrindavan and realizes that actually he is nothing compared to the inhabitants of Vrindavan, and most particularly compared to Radhani and her girlfriends. He is completely, how do we say, surprised, stupefied to see their level of love. And we can understand when we read what he saw. So we're going to read a little bit more, a little bit again. I like always to come to say again what we said last night, because I guess nobody remembers. Then she experienced his trunk-like arms to be pillars of pride. Possessed by the fire of separation, she fainted as she uttered the word arm. She meant the future tense. No, I'm not going to explain this. So Radhani now just said, will Krishna lay again on our heads his aguru-scented hand? And then she felt his arms and his hand, and she fainted. Because when Krishna comes internally, it's as much powerful as when he comes externally, can be even more powerful. So she felt either the embrace, it's not written, or the touch of Krishna's hand as she was asking. And then she fainted. It was not possible to say if it was Radha anymore because of the change of her voice, because of her thinness, because of her disfigured limbs and discoloration. One had doubt whether she was present in her body or not, since saliva fell over her body, her actions stopped completely, and her breathing could not be detected. So that's the state Radha now enters in. It's pretty much devastating, very, very intense experience of love, but this is Radha. She is Mahabhava Swarupini, the embodiment of the highest level of love, so of the most unlimited level of love. So it's normal in one sense that in her we see manifesting some reality that we couldn't have even think about, because we didn't know that love can be of such an extent. We didn't know that love could be that deep, that intense, that tragic, and that yet at the same time that sweet and beautiful and blissful. Because as I was explaining, all these experiences, even though they look painful and mm, harsh externally, actually internally they are the ultimate limit of joy and happiness. So she is feeling that. But externally, how it manifests, her voice changed so much that it was not possible to recognize if it was really her voice or not. She became so thin, her limbs became like disfigured and discolored, although, one more time, they could only be more beautiful than the previous moment, because Radha and Krishna, they always become only more beautiful and more everything positive, of course. So that means whatever transformation Radhani goes through, nevertheless, she's becoming more beautiful every second. So these transformations are more beautiful than her form before that transformation. And her form after coming back from that transformation to what we would say her normal appearance will be more beautiful than her form during that transformation also. It's always growing. But still, it was so so surprising to see her like this. It was even difficult to say if she was present in her body or not, because her body looked like lifeless when she fainted. So thin, disfigured, discolored, and saliva falling from over her body from her mouth. Saliva falling from her mouth. But it is said in Chaitanya Charitamrita somewhere else that when this kind of symptom happens, saliva falling from the mouth of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, it looks like nectar falling from the moon. It doesn't look like nasty saliva falling from our kind of mouth, from our material body, which is a nasty element, a nasty liquid. The saliva of Radha and Krishna is a pure transcendental liquid, purer than the water of the Ganges, more fragrant than rose water or whatever you can imagine. It's an extremely pure, actually, liquid, which is a manifestation of a particular feeling of transcendental love. And that liquid falling from her mouth over her body, it's actually extremely beautiful and pure. Yes, and very sweet and ecstatic, because it's her love that's just coming out of her mouth in this way. Her actions stopped completely. She became completely stunned, and her breathing could not be detected. So when this happened, when the breathing stops, we call this pralaya, which is the last stage of Astasatvika Bhav. But here it's even more, it's the last stage of separation, which is called Mrityu. She looked like there was no more life in her body, because the last stage of Astasatvika Bhav, or of ecstatic symptoms, is fainting on the ground, devastated. But the last stage of separation is Mrityu, being like dead. Not dead because eternal life cannot die, but like dead, no more breathing. It could not even be detected. That means if someone would have put a little cotton in front of her nose at that time, there would have been no movement, nothing. And I was reading very interestingly this morning uh, what is this poem from Stavabali, second poem, Raghunath Das Goswami write, I think Shri Gauranga Kalpadruma Stavaraj, something like that. He's describing the different ecstatic symptoms of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in Jagannath Puri in this poem, verse after verse. And he was describing the moment when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu fainted in front of Jagannath temple, north of the Singadwar, Lion's Gate, because Ramananda Roy and Swarup Damodar, they stayed with him all night, and he was into a delirium of pure love, describing how his mind had become a yogi and had left his body to go to Vrindavan with his disciple, his saints. That's also something we could study. The Song of the Yogi by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, such a beautiful song. And after that, Ramananda Roy and Swarup Damodar, they made Mahaprabhu lie down in the Gambhira. And they came out. Ramananda Roy went back to his apartments, and Swarup Damodar felt the mood of Mahaprabhu was so intense tonight, I have to stay close by. So he slept just in front of the door of Mahaprabhu's room in the Gambhira with Govinda, the servant of Mahaprabhu. They were sleeping, and Mahaprabhu just didn't sleep at all. He was just calling Krishna, Krishna, where are you? Where are you? All night long he could hear Mahaprabhu calling and chanting the holy name. And then all of a sudden, no more noise. Complete silence. And Swarup Damodar understood, because he's Lalita. He feels Radha in his heart. So he understood, oh. So he opened the door and there was nobody inside. Empty room. And then his heart completely broke and he thought, what happened? Because the associate of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, when this happened, they don't know, maybe Chaitanya Mahaprabhu just disappeared for good. Maybe he just left this world, because we are now in the last phase of his pastimes, and the devotees, they know, when you're with Krishna, you always know Krishna can leave this world at any moment. When he decides his pastimes are finished, he can just go. And they don't want to think about it, but it's there on the back of their mind. Inevitably, they know it's question of years, or maybe just months, or maybe just days, that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu could disappear at any time, because the state that he is experiencing now, he could just decide to close at any time his presence on earth. So when he disappears like that, like from within a room, which is locked, there was no more exit, no other exit, and the walls are very thick in the Gambhira. So that's very hard for Swarup Damodar. He didn't know what happened. That could maybe had been the last time he saw Mahaprabhu, but still they have to do as if it's not like that. Because there is another instance where they were searching for Mahaprabhu all night long in Puri, and at the end of the night, when the morning came, they were thinking, that's it, Mahaprabhu left us, he's no more here in Puri, we searched everywhere, he just went back and we are here alone. But he was not, he was floating in the sea, and they found him on the beach. But that time, they found him laying down in front of the Singadwar. And I think I will have the description here. I can read it to you. From Chaitanya Charitamrita. After a long search, they found him lying north of the Singha Dwar, the lion gate of the Jagannath temple. At first, Swarup Damodar was very happy to see the Lord, but when he saw the Lord's condition, he became worried. The devotees saw that their golden Lord Gauranga was grayed by dust, and that he had fallen flat on the ground in an unconscious state. So Mahaprabhu was flat on the ground, fallen, grayed by dust. All the joints of his bones had become disconnected, and his arms and legs that were already long had become ever longer. His bones were now just connected by the skin that covered them. He didn't move. He didn't breathe from his nose. Foam was coming from his mouth. The pupils of his eyes were left lifeless. So that's what they found. They found Mahaprabhu. The pupils of his eyes were left lifeless. That means he had open eyes like this. But if you looked into his eyes, there was no more life inside his eyes. It was like he had gone. No breath, no move, foam coming out of his mouth. When the devotees, they saw the Lord in this condition, they were about to give up their life, and they all cried out, "Alas, alas." It is extremely similar, now I realize. It was not planned. It came out in my reading this morning. Extremely similar to the description here. Radha's voice had changed. She became extremely thin. Her limbs were disfigured and discolored. There was a doubt whether she was present in her body or not, since saliva fell over her body, her action stopped completely, and her breathing could not be detected. It's so similar that we could just think what Mahaprabhu was experiencing when he was there lying in Jagannath Puri in front of the temple was exactly maybe that very same moment where Radharani collapsed in front of Uddhava when he brought the message of Krishna, or something similar, but inevitably some very similar feelings. So that's where we are. Radharani is there on the ground, lifeless. Oh Krishna, beautiful Radha has faded in separation from you. Her soft heart has, I don't know what he means here. Anyway, she has given up her shyness. The sweet smile has faded from her face. When most dear Radha falls into this condition of separation from you, my heart, on thinking of this, develops extreme pain. So we see, we should feel the pain when we see Radha and Krishna being in such condition. We should feel sorry. That will help us to connect with their heart, to connect with their feeling of separation. When the devotees, they saw Mahaprabhu lying on the ground flat, grayed by dust, no more breathing, and the pupils of his eyes lifeless. They nearly died. When they saw him like that, they nearly died. So we should not listen this kind of thing and think, well, okay, and go on with our life. When we hear such things, it should transform our entire life. It should transform our understanding of Krishna, our realization of Krishna. Don't let jewels pass in your hands without catching them. When someone deposits a priceless jewel in your hand, and close your hand and keep that jewel. Don't let it fall on the floor or go somewhere else, and then you realize, or you don't even realize, that a priceless jewel passed in your hand and you didn't even notice it. We have to realize, oh, these are extreme examples of love. So even if I cannot understand them right now, if I cannot feel them, I have to keep them inside my treasure box. We need to have a treasure box where we keep very amazingly beautiful things that we encounter on our journey toward Krishna's love. We should keep these things and come back to them from time to time and look at them. We should observe our jewels like a miser is always observing his treasury and his coins and all the jewels he had. But we don't do it as a miser. We do it as someone who's been gifted an extreme fortune that he cannot believe it. Still, he understands the value of it and he treasures it. Because by doing so, the more we treasure the treasures, the more they reveal themselves to us, and the more they will enable us to realize them. So we should feel the pain of Radhani's situation. And then we will understand Krishna's heart, Radhani's heart. How sweet is their love? How sweet is the love that Mahaprabhu has come to experience? He is experiencing that amazing state of transcendental love and bliss. O Krishna, most attractive among all things. There is the pain of separation by which one becomes completely void. There are certainly dissension and the obstacles caused by quarrel with you. My mind, thinking of the miserable condition of Radha's mind in the Prakata pastimes, becomes bewildered. Some things are a little bit out of context here, but we won't dwell on that because it's a whole book, and it's Snigdha Kanta and Madhukanta. They are explaining, so there are different contexts intertwining together, but he is making this point. There is a pain of separation by which one becomes completely void. And that he is very much bewildered when he thinks about this miserable condition of Radharani's mind. Now, the chapter 12 starts. So the chapter, that was just some glimpses of Radharani's talk with the bumblebee. I didn't cover the talk with the bumblebee. I covered just some beautiful feelings that were there that are not mentioned in the Bhagavatam. Maybe because they're too intense, and the Bhagavatam, Shukadev Goswami didn't want to go too intense because otherwise he couldn't have finished the Bhagavatam. Shukadev Goswami, his heart is too pure that if he speaks all these things, he will also become stunned and be fall into control of such a pure love. So he has to avoid speaking about this, considering that he has only 7 days to explain the Samam Bottom to Maharaj Parikshit. We're reaching chapter 12 of Gopal Champu. And this is called bliss revealed by Uddhava. That's just continuing. Radha remained unconscious for 1 muhurta, which means 48 minutes. And all the Sakis cared for her. This is the service of the Sakis. They have to preserve the life of Radharani. And that's why Radharani, she's never alone. She's like a very extremely emotional princess. And she has to be cared for 24 hours a day. She cannot remain alone. It's very rare that Radharani remains alone, because it's like if you had a very fragile princess. She's so important. She's so much everything for all of them. But at the same time, she's so fragile, and anything can happen to her at any moment, because her condition of love is so high that it can take any turn at any moment, and you never know with Radharani what will happen in the next second. Extremely intense to take care of Radharani. So they are all of them always with her. At least 8 of her girlfriends, they are nearly always there, plus her maidservant. Sometimes the maidservant are there and not the girlfriend. Most of the time there are some maidservants around her. Or if they are not readily around her, they are nearby. And they're following everything. And if there are some problem like this, they are here. They're taking care of Radharani. So they're making a lotus petal bed for her. They put her to lie down. They fan her. They moisten her with by sprinkling water. They put some chandan paste over her body. They do everything. They tell her some things in her ears, and they massage her. They know how to preserve her life. They know very well. This is an art that we have to start knowing about, and we will be taught in the perfect level when we will take birth on the planet where Krishna has appeared in the material world. How we say, womb of Vrindavan. If we are fortunate enough, after the end of this life, pure enough to take birth in womb of Vrindavan, in the womb of Mother Gopi there, and grow in that land where Krishna and Radha have appeared along with the eternal associate. And those eternal associates will train us into all these services, how to take care of Radharani. That's only for those who receive the immense great fortune of attaining the close circle of Radha, or her close friend. That's their services, taking care of her. And all the Sakis cared for her. They were around. They lamented, "Oh friend Radha, with such love for Krishna." You see, they understand that her condition is the love of Krishna, and they appreciate, because they understand ultimately behind this apparent frightening situation, the cause is her love for Krishna. Oh friend Radha, with such a love for Krishna. Oh Radha, who always gives us happiness. We see you are in a deathly state, with dark eyes. Her eyes were completely dark. You couldn't see expression in them anymore. Krishna's best servant Uddhava, a facsimile of Krishna, appearing like his Sfurti, also lamented. Uddhava is so close to Krishna that he looked like he was a manifestation of Krishna among them, a Sfurti of Krishna. And he also started to lament. And then Uddhava brought her back to consciousness by bringing close to her a fresh piece of Krishna's clothes, holding his bodily fragrance. So that's something very, very delicate. So Uddhava is an expert also. Generally, it's often Vrinda Devi who does this when Krishna loses completely consciousness, or Radharani. She brings a fragrant flower garland from the other one. Either she brings a flower garland from Krishna to Radharani, and when she put that flower garland around Radharani's neck, then Radharani can smell the smell of Krishna. It enters her nostrils, and the touch of the garland, which is Mahaprashadam, which is Krishna's garland, also gives her the touch of Krishna's body. And then she starts to feel Krishna's fragrance and Krishna's touch. And then slowly, like that, she comes back to consciousness. She does the same with Krishna. Sometimes placing a garland of Radharani around Krishna's neck when he loses completely consciousness. Or sometimes she puts just a flower on their hair. Anyway, something that can be either their fragrance or their touch or whatever. This is the effect of what we call tadya, the things that are related to Radha and Krishna, because they imbibe Radharani or Krishna's qualities by being upon their body, and then they transport these qualities in them, and whoever comes in contact with these objects, though they are not lifeless objects, because in Vraj objects are also living. All these living objects, when they come in contact with us or with someone else, then they retransfer these qualities coming from Radha or Krishna, upon which body they were and whose qualities they imbibe. They retransfer these qualities into the heart of the person who received them. So now Uddhava is bringing a piece of cloth. He's very intelligent. He brought, or maybe Krishna gave him that piece of cloth because Krishna knew the effect that such piece of cloth could have and how it could solve what Krishna already could foresee that would probably happen, and it happened. Radharani lost completely any connection. So Uddhava felt the inspiration. He took that piece of Krishna's clothes and he holding his bodily fragrance, and he placed and he brought that piece of clothes close to her. He placed her in the center with great determination and convinced her that she would meet Krishna. So that brought her back to consciousness. Slowly she opened her eyes. She's drowning in that sweet love in separation from Krishna. Every moment her love is growing. Krishna says in Chaitanya Charitamrita, 4th chapter of Adi Lila, that although Radharani's love is all-pervading, still it is growing at every moment, and Krishna is puzzled by this. He cannot understand how is it possible that Radharani's love is already all-pervading, still it's growing constantly. That's the magic of Radharani's love. So now she comes back to consciousness, she opens her eyes, and her love continues to grow. And Uddhava is here and he is convincing her that she would meet Krishna, not very soon. With the Sakis sitting all around, he consoled them for a long time. Uddhava cares about all of them, and he took time to console all of them one by one, and also at the same time all together, because whatever he says to one, also consoling all the other ones. But he takes the time also to be personal with each of them. So he consoled them for a long time. We have to learn this art from Uddhava. We have to be able to console devotees also for a long time when it's needed. It's an expression of love and a care, an expression of spiritual care. As previously, first he spoke sweet words, glorifying Krishna's and their greatness, in order to relieve them of the emotions difficult for anyone to bear or to bear. Sometimes I'm sorry for my English. You who have offered your hearts completely to Krishna, from whom fortune, religiousness, sense pleasure, and liberation can be obtained. Oh, okay. At your contact simply, you are most successful. Uddhava is sometimes a little bit Gyani Bhakta, so he says things like this. But anyway, it's beautiful is to glorify the gopis. He said, you are most successful. He is not far from you. Krishna is not far from you. Prema, in the guise of separation, is showing your exceeding greatness. He says that actually pure love for Krishna in the form of separation, the separation that you are now experiencing and manifesting, this pure love is showing your greatness, but not only your greatness, it's showing your exceeding greatness, because Uddhava had never seen such a love in separation from Krishna. And he can feel that behind that very intense, tragic feeling, there is an immense sweetness that's overflowing their heart and also overflowing his heart at their contact. Uddhava spoke with lamentation. When your dear Krishna wanted to send me to Vraj, he spoke to me privately. O Uddhava, who makes me blissful. So now he's quoting Krishna. Krishna told me, O Uddhava, who makes me blissful. Now listen, this is how Uddhava pacifies the gopis. And they are in such an extreme state of separation, so he has to be very kind, very sweet, and to really reach their heart, to bring them back to a hopeful state of life. So Krishna told me, O Uddhava, who makes me blissful, please listen, dear gentle Uddhava. That's how sweet is Krishna. Go to Vraj and give pleasure to our parents, and also relieve the gopis suffering in separation from me by giving them my message. The minds of those gopis are always absorbed in me, and their very lives are ever devoted to me. For my sake, they have abandoned everything related to their bodies, renouncing ordinary happiness in this life, as well as religious duties necessary for such happiness in the next life. They have abandoned happiness in this life, and they also sacrifice happiness of the next life for Krishna. I alone am there dear most beloved, and indeed their very self. These words are from the Bhagavatam, I guess 11th canto. Krishna says to Uddhava, therefore I take it upon myself to sustain them in all circumstances. That means I am always with them, taking care of them, even if they don't see me. I take it upon myself to sustain them in all circumstances. My dear Uddhava, for those women of Gokul, I am the most cherished object of love. Thus, when they remember me, who am so far away, they are overwhelmed by the anxiety of separation. Simply because I have promised to return to them, my fully devoted cowherd girlfriends struggle to maintain their lives somehow or other. This is from the 10th canto, 46th chapter. So that's just prior sending Uddhava to Vrindavan, which is on the 47th chapter. So that's Krishna telling to Uddhava to go to Vrindavan and giving him the message. Though it's just hinted at in the Bhagavatam, not so many details. Varacharya, they had so many beautiful things. So that's very intense to see how Krishna really understands the gopis' love. He understands their feelings. And he feels also their state. He's not callous, he's not insensitive, he's very, very sensitive, very much concerned to be sure that they are well and they go through that very beautiful and pure yet extremely intense love for him when he is not there. There are some women in Raj whose mind even I cannot understand. Their feelings of separation will not be destroyed by your words. If you reveal my talks with you, they will be able to understand those talks with difficulty and may become thus freed of grief. So Krishna says, your mission is not an easy one because there are some girls in Vrindavan that I even cannot understand their mind because they are so much elevated in pure love that it's difficult for me to understand their minds. So don't think that your little words, whatever you say, will really change them. Their feelings of separation will not be destroyed by your words. But if you reveal my talks with you, they will be able to understand those talks. With difficulty, true, but they will be able. He has to tell them something that's coming from Krishna. Though the gopis have given up eating because of me, so they're no more eating. They remain alive for a long time. This is not a lie, but true. Their life heirs are dedicated to me, who possesses an immortal body. Their minds are constantly thinking of me. This is the reason they remain alive. So why are they not dying if they are no more eating and they're enduring such intense separation? How can they remain alive? Krishna says, because they have given their life, they have dedicated their life here, which means they have given their life to me. And I possess an immortal body. I cannot die. And they have given me their life. So then they cannot die neither. Understand? Because I cannot die and they have given me their life. Their life is in my possession. Because I cannot die, then they also cannot die. That's their situation, but otherwise they would die. That's the only way that they remain alive, is that they have given their life to me. And because I am eternity, immortal eternity, then they don't die. So beautiful, yet so intense. Krishna continues. I cannot reject others who, just on hearing about me, give up their relatives and their individual duties, though their worship may be faulty. How then can I give up the gopis, whose bodies are ever fresh with prema? Krishna says, if someone worships me and gives up everything for me, their duty and all their relatives, even if they make some mistake, I cannot reject them, because they have given themselves, they have given me and their life, and they gave up everything for me. So what to say of giving up the body, the gopis whose body are ever fresh with prema, means whose body are just transformation of growing prema. Their love is constantly growing. How can I give them up? Their body is made of that growing love. Though the gopis see me constantly within their hearts, at the sphurti, at the manifestation, and by that are able to maintain and nourish their life. If somehow or other talk of my being in Mathura arises, then they become bewildered by remembering how distant I am. So Krishna understands so well the situation of the gopis. He explained here another reason why they are not dying, because they see him constantly within their heart. They see what we call sphurti of Krishna. A sphurti of Krishna is that when Krishna appears to you, but others cannot see him. That's a sphurti. When Krishna appears externally, everybody around can see him. This is a common darshan. But when Krishna appears within your heart, that's a sphurti that only you can see. So Krishna says, they always see me constantly within their heart at the sphurti. So they are with Krishna constantly, they see him, he's there. Krishna as a sphurti or real Krishna outside are as real. They are both the same Krishna. Both of them are completely real. So they are constantly with me. In their heart, they see me, they feel me, they hear me, they can experience my full presence. Yet, if somehow or other they hear that actually I am away in Mathura externally, then they will become bewildered and they will remember that actually I'm not here, I'm far away. That's their situation. Meeting in separation and separation in meeting. They are experiencing both at the same time. Because the gopis take a moment of separation from me to be a kalpa, an entire day of Brahma. 8,640 million years. If we count day and night, it's double. When I think kalpa means only half of it, it means only the day time of Brahma, so 4,320,000,000 years, I think it's that. They think that they take a moment of separation from me to be an entire day of Brahma. They almost died at the beginning of the rasa dance because of separation, and that was quite short. Krishna didn't leave them for a long time, yet Krishna is aware and he knows that Even at that moment when I left them for a little time, they almost died because their love is so intense, so deep, so pure and so sweet that even if I leave them for half a moment, they feel like they're dying. I have repeatedly and emphatically stated that I will return so that their life heirs do not leave their bodies. Krishna knew that's another reason he keeps them alive is by how he kept them alive is by telling them that he will come back, and Krishna knew by these words he will be able to keep them alive. So in different ways, by appearing within their heart and being there fully in the form of a Sfurti, by these words that he told them, Krishna also maintained them in life, and by also supporting their life and being himself immortal. As I swore to my mother and father previously, I instruct you in order that you understand. I know that I am a cowherd. I have revealed my cowherd nature by seeing my cowherd girls. Therefore, there is no difference between me and them. We are of the same family, the family of Raj. Hearing this, now Uddhava speaks. I then inquired, then why do you not go there eventually in the pleasant form? Because that's logic. Uddhava doesn't understand. If there is such love and you loving them so much that it's difficult for you to live without them and they're dying without you, why are you not just going there and be again with them? Hearing this, Krishna with discolored face. Krishna, in all this, Krishna's heart is expressing, Krishna is expressing his heart with a very grave voice. It's also very painful for Krishna, this separation. And now his face is discolored. Krishna revealed to me the truth. Though it is possible to kill all the enemies, there is some shyness here and there which stops my attempts to go to Vraj. Not only have the gopis offered themselves completely to me, but I have also given myself to them. Krishna explained that their attraction for me became noticed. Our love became noticed by others because it gradually increased unlimitedly. It was so unlimited that it couldn't be hidden. People would feel that and would see that even though it was pure, still they were confused because gopis were married to some other people. Because of shame caused by that, I left their attachment on the strength of another pretext, going to kill Kamsa. Jiva Goswami is now revealing that Krishna left, because it was painful to him to see that the gopis were criticized. When I return to Raj and they accept me again, there will again be shame. And if I do not accept them, they will die. But still, I will go there and somehow resolve this problem. It's a very complicated situation for Krishna. I desire in the meantime to send you, Uddhava, who are not different from me, because of their suffering condition. Even if you can find a solution to all problems, you should give them this message I have written, and read it personally, since they will be blinded by their tears and will not be able to read it, my message. You have to read it to them. They would have too much tear-filled eyes, their tears would will flow so forcefully that they will not be able to read that letter. Sorry. So please read it to them. So when Uddhava explained all this message from Krishna, the gopi again thought to themselves. By repeating the statement, he is pointing out the unique qualities of what was previously instructed. He is indicating that Krishna appears as a Sfuti to us. That's true. By revealing everything clearly, the fact that Krishna wants to come back personally, there should be no separation. By revealing that he will stay in Mathura, there is separation. He's saying that if a Sfuti appears to us, there will be union even if he is in Mathura? No, we don't believe that. What is the use of meaningless sounds of words with the grinding wheel crushing what has already been crushed? So their separation is so intense that they think in that very strange way. They say, okay, Krishna appears in our heart and he is already there because he appears in our heart. And okay, if he comes personally, there will also be no separation because he will be there. But now he is telling us that he is appearing in our heart, but at the same time he is in Mathura. That doesn't make sense. So that means he's not here. What are these useless sounds of words? They're just crushing. These words are just crushing what has already been crushed. That means their heart. These words supposed to be for consolation, they are just crushing further our hearts because he's still keeping to tell us that Krishna is in Mathura. Okay, he's there appearing with your body, within your body, in your heart. That's very kind, but you also said that he's still in Mathura. So that doesn't work for them. Again they asked, and he spoke the same words. The gopi began to wonder in astonishment. Again and again he has written the same words. There must be successively deeper meanings. The third repetition of the letter denies that he will appear as a Sfuti and indicates that he will come directly. Determining this meaning, we should then consider carefully, just as a person who wears ornament may not appear beautiful, one who does not understand may speak, but those words are useless. So they're thinking that these are words, but what do they really change? They don't change anything. Krishna is still not here. He's still there in Mathura. The words tell us that he appears in our heart. Okay, he was already appearing in our heart. That's a fact. But these words, they don't change anything. So if Krishna told Uddhava, your mere words will be very difficult to destroy their feeling of separation. They thought, how can he who is the most generous in giving great mercy, Krishna, how can he give a sweet made of grain mixed with raw sugar, while we enjoy the most exquisite sweet? Why he's giving us something lesser than what we're experiencing? Therefore we will again ask him, and on asking he said the same thing. Then they considered in their heart, he is teaching that he is personally present here, through instructions. But he means you should take my Sfurti as my very form, just as the elements, as the cause of their effects, the visible object, can be seen within the object. I, the king of all black and beautiful objects, the cause of your minds and other functions, can be seen within you. This is not satisfying the gopis. So now they go into philosophical discussion. He's speaking of meditation in order to stop our mind from thinking about separation. He's trying to divert our mind, not to think anymore about separation, but to think about meditation upon him. That's all right, but that doesn't change the situation that he's not here. So I'm going to stop here because it continues on, and we have to come back to Mahaprabhu's state of mind, and we see here how this feeling of separation is so intense that nothing can break it. Even the fact that Krishna is present within their heart doesn't break the fact that they are deeply absorbed in separation. It cannot stop their feelings of separation. Even everything that's happening, even all the talks of Uddhava, even all the messages of Krishna is coming, and they're telling them very beautiful things, full of love, overwhelming with love and humility and kindness from Krishna, full of promises that he will come back, full of revelations that he is actually with them at every moment. Still, none of these things, they can destroy their feelings of separation. It's there. It cannot be uprooted. They are deeply grounded in that feeling of separation, which is justified because Krishna is not there with them. How can they stop feeling separation as long as he's not really there? They do appreciate that he is present within them, and so at the same time, that's why we have to understand, it's like a double story, a double movie happening at the same time. They're saying all this, but at the same time, inside their heart, they're experiencing that unlimitedly peaceful and sweet presence of Krishna during that intense feeling of separation. That's why also they root themselves deeper and deeper and deeper into that feeling of separation, because it generates an extremely blissful connection with Krishna. But that's what Mahaprabhu wanted to experience. It's a very, very, very incredible state of transcendental feelings, where meeting and separation, they combine together and they start to do so many things, and they start to manifest so many ways of meeting and separation, and every time both yet remain constantly intertwined. That means that every time if they feel a little bit relieved because Krishna appeared in their heart, still the feeling of separation is there. And every time they dive so deeply and deeper again, because everything can only grow at every second in the pastimes of pure love of Krishna. The more they dive in separation, the more they find that actually Krishna is there more intensely and more beautifully with them. So it's a constant very astonishing reality of love. But this is what we call the feelings of the gopis of Raj, because they are emanations of Radha, and this is ultimately the heart of Radha manifesting all that feeling. But now we're speaking about the general gopis, but she's still there. We remember she's in the center and everyone is around her. But would have also take time to speak to all of them. But because they are all, their heart is connected with Radharani's heart, so the Radharani's feeling is just expressing through all of them, through each of them. So Mahaprabhu wanted to have the experience of this extraordinary love of Radha that also shines through all her emanations, who are her girlfriends and maidservants. He wanted to experience that and all the incredible situation and feelings that this constantly generates and regenerates and make growing further and further. That's the ultimate experience for Krishna. And that's why Radha and the gopis, they do exist to help him advance at every step ever further in the reality of transcendental love and the divine blissful sweetness that goes with it and also constantly grows along with the growth of that divine love. So Mahaprabhu is there in Jagannath Puri. He came to experience that, and he's there. Shri Radhika Chestayana, that consciousness that she entered in, because when Uddhava came, all this, she rose to such a level of love that this is what happened, and Mahaprabhu came to experience that very precise thing. Also many other things, but that's the very precise thing Mahaprabhu came to experience, and now he's living that in the Gambhira. And Lalita and Vishaka in the form of Lalita, Swarup Damodar, Roy Ramananda, they're helping him, like they were helping Radharani, helping him to experience that love in separation. He came to experience that separation because that's the dynamic of Radharani's heart. Now we have to take care of him because it will be an intense experience. So they're here helping him, accompanying him in that incredible experience. And by their unlimited mercy, they're recording this for us to join them into that, I don't know how we say that, to join them in accompanying Lord Chaitanya in that experience, because we're hearing about it. We're hearing about it, so we become involved in that situation. We're hearing about it, and if we want from that hearing, we can go further, which is taking at heart what they share with us, and thus becoming gradually an active member of that assistance to Lord Chaitanya and help to experience further the love of Radharani. Yes, this is what we can become if we accept to follow these young girls, because this is what they do eternally. So if we accept to join them, we can also become a little instrument in helping Krishna to experience ever further Radharani's love and separation. Srila Prabhupada is so magnanimous, and we've been touched by his mercy. Now we become involved and we should really, really be grateful and dive into that ocean on which shore he has brought us. Jai. Shri Gauranga Mahaprabhu Ki Jai.